Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we are going to be trialing out some Velvet Concept products. If you guys are new to the channel, hi, my name is Ken, also known as MrKenDenis. If you guys like my stuff, I do beauty, lifestyle, vlogging type videos. If that's your jam, definitely hit the subscribe button, also the bell so you get notified when I have a new video up. So without further ado, let's get into this first impressions. Okay, so we're going to do a first impressions on a couple of Velvet Concept products. I've got the Ultimate Primer. It says it's good for line and pore minimizing, and I've also got the Abracadabra Multi-tasking Foundation. Okay, so this is what the bottle looks like. Hopefully the camera is picking that up. Yes, this is what the bottle looks like. It's really nice and very premium feeling. I don't actually know how much this costs. I'll probably look it up in a second and put it on this screen. But I've got two shades to work with. I've already got foundation on this. So I did swatch these on the back of my hand just to see what color would probably work. I think I'm probably going to work with chai. This one is caramels. Also, I noticed with this particular foundation, don't go with what the bottle looks like because it's frosted. So you know, it's probably best to pump it in the back of your hand, or if you can do this, probably not the best thing to do, but you know what I mean, like just have a look at the actual product itself. But yeah, I don't actually know much about this product. I didn't really read too much. So let's read the back of the box. It says it's luxuriously creamy with high impact pigments. This foundation delivers instant full coverage without a heavy layered feel, resulting in a flawless finish. Oh, wonderful. Let's see, the formula will effortlessly even out your complexion, assist with oil absorption, and provide a seamless all-day wear. Okay, so by the sounds of it, this foundation is going to give me full coverage, or at least high coverage, help with oil control, and also last throughout the day. Now, I have a relatively busy day. I'm going to try and wear this for at least 6 hours just to see how it's going to work. I've also got the primer. It says it's good for lines and pores. So it says, soft as silk primer glides effortlessly across the skin, creating a mattified base to help extend the wear of makeup and minimize the appearance of pores and fine lines. Okay. That's interesting. Hopefully it's going to be a silicone-based primer because I love silicone-based. And then we also have the Airbrush Effect brush, which looks like this. To me, it just looks like a nice kabuki brush. It's fairly dense, so I'm going to use that to apply the primer. Okay, so it's like a squeezy tube. I'm just going to put it directly onto my skin. Formula seems a bit thick. Okay, there we go. This formula seems to be quite thick, and just like from looking at it, I think it might be silicone based. Let me just have a feel. I think it is. A little bit hard to squeeze, I have to say, but maybe after squeezing it a few more times it will loosen up. Not sure. Alright, just using that kabuki brush. So today I'm going to use a combination of kabuki brush, or this brush, and a sponge as per usual, just so that we can see if there's any discrepancies or differences in terms of finish and application. As per usual, I like to color correct, so I'm just using this one from Maybelline. This is the Master Camo in Apricot, I believe is the shade. Sorry guys, I really need to hurry this up because I don't want to be late for my appointment. And then I'm just going to grab some Maybelline Master Fix Set and Perfecting Loose Powder. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see, but the blob of foundation on my skin looks a lot lighter, but once I start blending it out, I can already see that it's a little bit darker, which is what I wanted. And this is definitely a nice yellow toned or warm toned foundation. I think this is a pretty good match, honestly. And in terms of coverage, it is pretty full coverage, as you guys can see. I am surprised. Usually with a color corrector like this, I have to at least layer 2 and a bit for most foundations just to get that coverage, but it's already giving me the coverage. Wow. Okay. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that amount of foundation, but I will do 2 layers just to see how well it builds up. Okay, that's probably 2.5 as well. Just grabbing the rest on a brush. Sorry, I'm just keeping an eye on the time. Stipple, stipple, stipple on the areas I have the color corrector. Damn. Coverage. Coverage, girl. Coverage. She came here to slay, not to play. In terms of smell, it kind of reminds me of baby powder. it's not overly strong. It's very subtle. I actually really like it. Okay, in terms of the brush side, this particular foundation, it does look like the brush has taken off a little bit of that foundation, whereas the sponge, it's definitely just pressed it down. And I don't know if you guys can see, but this is already drying down like a matte finish, which is very, very good. In terms of coverage, what do I think? This is definitely medium full, like bordering. This is definitely just medium at this point. So like I said, I'm going to... What did I touch? I got like black stuff on my sponge. I must have had like a black shadow somewhere. Oh well. I'm gonna layer this up. I'm going to layer this up. Probably just 2 pumps this time because I'm pretty happy with the amount of coverage I already have. We have found a gem. Okay, this is a little bit too early to say, but so far I am just so blown away with how impressive this coverage is. Okay, 2 layers, it looks good. I feel like it's layered pretty well. Do I feel like it's emphasized my pores? I don't think so. I feel like it's still pretty much the same, like how I would normally expect my pores to look after a silicone primer and foundation. So with the brush, I can already see with the whole buffing, stippling and buffing motion, which is the motion I would expect to be using this brush, I feel that the second layer didn't apply as good as the first layer. I can see a little bit of streaking, so I'm just gonna try and pat that away. And usually here, when I rub too hard, the foundation comes off as well, and I've noticed that as well. Not too much, but I can see a little bit coming off, so I'm just going to pat the rest. Looking at the camera, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I definitely feel like there's a discrepancy, a little bit of discrepancy in terms of coverage. As per usual, sponge just gives me a little bit more coverage compared to the brush side. But in terms of coverage, I think they're both pretty equal. This one's definitely now medium full, like full on medium full, like Estee Lauder double wear kind of full. And then this one is pretty much the same, just a smidge more skin-like because there's a little less coverage, if that makes sense. Okay, so I have quickly done the rest of my makeup. I probably would like to wear a little bit more, but it'll have to do. I noticed when I was like doing the rest of my makeup, I realized that my foundation was a little bit light, like particularly around the forehead. So I just grabbed a little bit of bronzer and just made sure I bronzed my skin a lot more. But I think everything looks good. That's a bit of highlighter. I've got some blush. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And I also used a setting spray. I used the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray just to get rid of that. Actually, I need a bit more. Just to get rid of that like really powdery finish in the center panel of my face. Okay, so it is now currently 12:23 in the morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to my appointment, and then that will probably take like an hour, and then I'll come back and then show you guys what's happening, and then I'm just gonna pretty much stay home for the rest of the day and just do some editing, just some housework. So I'll catch you guys in. Hey guys, so I am back. It is currently 1:56. Hopefully you guys can see that. 1:56 in the afternoon, and I've pretty much been at the tax agents. They had the heater on, so it was a little bit warm. Wasn't that bad, and then I just walked out, and then I just walked for a little bit out in the sunshine. It's just really nice and warm. What's happening with my face? Let's have a look up close. From that distance with the mirror, it looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good on camera, honestly. I will have to say this though, when I first applied my powder and everything, the fine line on my forehead, I've got 2 of them, they definitely were definitely emphasized, not as bad as other foundations, but I could definitely see it. I think the primer definitely did help in terms of making sure that it didn't sink in, because fuller coverage foundations, they just tend to sink. Fuller coverage matte type foundations, they tend to sink into that fine line, so I think it's helping. But when I did use the setting spray, it did soften it up and everything, so I don't know. But like for now, at this point in time, I can kind of see it. I don't know how I feel about it at this point, because I I tend to wear foundations like this anyway, so I know that as time goes on, it's going to melt into my skin, it's going to look a lot better, so I'll just say that. But in terms of the rest of the face, it looks pretty good, it looks really nice and matte. I do, however, see a little bit of shine on the sides of my nose already peeking through. It's not bad, but I can just see it. But otherwise, everything else looks really good. Like, people were complimenting me how the foundation looks really nice and it just looks good. But it definitely does look like makeup. I will give it that. It's not your no makeup foundation. It's definitely makeup foundation. Which I'm here for, girl. I like it. I think the colour might have oxidized a smidge, and I mean a smidge, like maybe half a shade, not too much. Because I do remember leaving here, even though I had already powdered and bronzed, this part of my face was a little bit light, like a little bit too highlighty, if that makes sense. And now it's kind of like just toned down, so I think it has oxidized a bit. So yeah, I am going to continue on with the rest of my day. I'm just going to do some editing. It's quite sunny out, so I'm going to sit near the window, so we'll see how that affects this. And then I'll check in. Oh, I'm also going to have lunch, so I'll check in, see if any smile lines, creases start to form. At this point, there's nothing, even though I was like talking non-stop pretty much. Yeah, okay, so I'll be right back. We have made it to the end of the night. Oh. Hey, we've made it to the end of the night. So where's the foundation? Okay, so this is what my skin looks like right now. Honestly, I am very, very impressed. By the way, I'll show you the time as proof. 6:03 in the evening, as you guys saw, so I'm pretty much just going to quickly edit this video and upload it so you guys can have something to watch this Monday evening. But overall, I am really, really impressed with how this foundation has held out throughout the day. Again, I've had to deal with the heater, you know, sun exposure, that sort of thing, just like moving around as well. And yeah, I'm so sorry that I was in a bit of a rush at the beginning of the video. Normally I talk about my skin, my wants and needs before I start applying the foundation, but obviously I was in a rush today. If you guys are unfamiliar with my skin type, I am basically 29 years old, male. I've got textural issues of fine lines, pores, mainly around here for the pores, especially there. Fine lines around the forehead tend to be quite bad sometimes. In terms of the actual skin itself, I tend to have, I'd say normal skin with a slightly oilier T-zone. And in terms of skincare, I think that's also something that needs to be spoken about. I tend to wear a light serum underneath, and then some sunscreen during the day, which is what I wore today, and some eye cream. So that's pretty much what was underneath before I started applying primer and foundation. In terms of finishes, what do I prefer? I prefer satin finishes or like a soft matte velvet matte type finish. And then in terms of coverage, I do prefer medium coverage or medium full coverage. That's like my ideal, or at least like a light medium coverage foundation that you can build up to full coverage. Okay, now let's move on to the products themselves. So let's start off first with the primer. Packaging, I actually really like it. I like the like purple they used for this. I actually thought the product itself was going to be purple as well when it first came out. In terms of the packaging, I don't really mind it. I do find that the tip itself, I feel like it's a little bit too narrow. So the product itself it's a little bit hard to squeeze. I don't know if it's just because the product itself on the inside is actually quite thick and the opening is too narrow, or the opening is just too narrow. It doesn't really matter how thick the product is, it's just going to have a hard time coming out. But otherwise, I think that's pretty much the only issue I have with it. In terms of the actual product itself, I do feel like it does work. I do feel, however, that I needed a bit more of the product. Again, I felt like it's more of a silicone-based primer because it had that slick to it, you know, that very smooth feel to the skin. If you guys have used silicone-based primers before, yes, you know what I'm talking about, that slick you get from a silicone-based primer. Yeah, I feel like I could have used a little bit more, but because the packaging was a little bit hard to work with, I couldn't really squeeze as much as I wanted. I feel like I have to use this product a bit more, and more in terms of the amount of product as well, to get a full idea of how it's actually going to work on my skin. And now we'll move on to the foundation. packaging, it's really nice and luxe. I really like it. I also like how you can control the pump and control the amount of product you're dispensing with the pump. The only issue that I have with probably this is that when I first got it, actually, this was a little bit too tight, and it actually pulled this off. But now that I've kind of like played around with it, it doesn't seem to be happening anymore. But yeah, that's just something I noticed. But in terms of the actual formula itself, I am very, very impressed. I'm really happy with how it looks on my skin. Like I said, I do prefer satin finish foundations or like a velvet matte foundation. Now this is a velvet matte, I would have to say, but I do feel like it's a little bit more on the drier side of things, so definitely more mattifying. So if you have drier skin, I think with this particular foundation, and if you're using 2 layers like what I did, I think you need to really prep your skin, maybe some facial oils, a really good moisturizer. But if you guys have very similar skin types to myself, then I think you should be fine. But yeah, it looks really nice. It looks good on the skin. Again, going back to the promises on the box, it says it's going to effortlessly even out your complexion, assist with oil absorption, and provide seamless all-day wear. In terms of complexion, I think it's pretty good. Like, it's really even because of the coverage. In terms of oil absorption, I have to say it's done a really good job. Usually around the 6-hour mark, I definitely have to powder on my nose, but at this point, I feel like I'm good. I feel like I don't have to. I just need to blot, which I just did, and we're good. Then all day wear. So it says all day wear, so it doesn't necessarily say it's long lasting, but I feel like with the amount of coverage and the fact that it's a mattifying foundation, it should last a whole day, like a whole working day, I should say, for most people. I mean, 6 hours, it still looks good. I mean, realistically, if you did have like, let's say, an 8-hour working day, I feel like this is still going to look really good. And by the way, let's talk about the brush itself as well while we're here. So this one is the F2 Airbrush Effect brush. It has a decent amount of weight to it. In terms of the bristles themselves, I feel like they did a good job at like buffing everything. I don't think it's extraordinary, like it's the most amazing brush out there, but I definitely feel like it does work well with this foundation if you guys want to use a brush with your foundation. But again, like me personally, I do prefer sponges just for my makeup application. I just like sponges. Anyway, that is the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll leave all the information to their website down in the description box down below. Again, thank you so much for sending this over to the team at Velvet Concepts, because as soon as I saw that Instagram post, I was like, yes, I really want to try that. It looks really, really good. Yeah, and again, this was sent to me in PR, but I'm not lying to you. I'm not just saying it's good so that I can get more PR. I'm genuinely telling you guys how I feel about these products, and I'm really happy. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go and edit this video now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to thumbs up the video if you guys did. Tell me down in the comment box down below if you guys are going to check out this foundation. And yeah, if you guys haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on any of my new videos. And if you guys would like to see more of me, head over to my Instagram at MrKenDenis. I'm pretty active these days. I post, I'd like to say every 2 days now, like a photo or a video, and Instagram stories is pretty much almost every day at this point. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!